National Distracted Driving Awareness Month. So today we are talking with Rick Gordon. He is the Vice President and Manager at Erie Insurance of Wisconsin. Rick, thanks for being here this morning.
Thanks for having me.
Sure. Tell me, first of all, pretty general, what is distracted driving?
Well, the Department of Transportation defines distracted driving as any activity that takes your eyes off the road, your hands off the wheel, or your mind off the primary task of driving safely.
And I feel like is this a relatively new kind of concept? I mean, people have been distracted while driving for a while, but I feel like we're hearing a lot more about it now.
Well, yeah, you're hearing a lot more about it now because of the prevalence of cell phones. You know, texting comes to mind.
Right, exactly.
Obviously.
And we do have a list of the top 5 reasons people are distracted while driving. Number 1 is daydreaming.
Daydreaming, being generally lost in thought, or as you mentioned, daydreaming, if you will.
Right, and then number 2 would be, like you said, using your cell phone, texting, listening, dialing, something like that?
Exactly.
All right, what about number 3, rubbernecking?
Rubbernecking, some event or some object that's outside the vehicle that captures your attention, rubbernecking concept.
It's difficult for people not to watch when something is
Very true.
happening like that. Number 4 would be?
Other occupants in the vehicle, having your focus on those folks as opposed to the roadway.
And number 5, using or reaching for a device such as a navigational device.
Yeah, some sort of object that you've brought into the vehicle that's occupying your attention.
Now, how can we combat that? How do we avoid doing those things?
Well, we feel that as a result of releasing the findings of this study that people would become more cognizant of these types of distractions and avoid them because they put you at an unneeded increased risk of being involved in a fatal crash.
And just how dangerous is distracted driving?
Well, it's, as you mentioned, it's extremely dangerous. We looked at the more than 65,000 fatalities that occurred over the past 2 years, and we found that, as you mentioned, 1 in 10 of those cases involved distracted driving behavior. And frankly, you know, this was a study where we reviewed the police report data that's part of the fatality analysis reporting system, and I think most people could probably conclude that when people are being questioned about the potential distracted activities involved in a fatal crash, they may not be as forthcoming about what was actually involved. So in fact, the data may not be as, it may not reflect the seriousness or actually the prevalence of distracted driving.
And you had a pretty good analogy. We were talking during the break about what it's like to be distracted while driving. Share that with our viewers.
Yeah, well, texting in particular, it's a very common understanding that it's an issue. And the Department of Transportation released an alarming statistic, and basically it says if you're driving down the road at 55 miles per hour, it's basically like going more than the length of a football field with a blindfold on. Wow. It's extremely dangerous.
You know, we hear about it a lot, but it's always great to have a reminder to let people know to cut out the distractions while driving.
Absolutely.
All right, Rick, thanks so much for being here this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you. It's great to be in Madison. I heard Charlie talking about college food earlier. It reminded me of my undergrad days here in Madison.
Takes you back a little bit?
A little bit.
What do you think, Charlie?